What is going on YouTube, and welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank you all so much for joining me for this being my review on Survivor Season 50, Episode 2. For those of you guys who are not familiar with me and my TV watching, Survivor is probably one of my favorite shows to watch. I did review last season, if I'm not mistaken, so I didn't want to review this season. I love All-Star seasons because you have players there who are ready to play, who are ready to hit the ground running. You have players who are not just there just for the experience of being on a deserted island with no food and, extremely harsh environments, extremely harsh conditions, not being able to eat and, not having a bathroom facility, not having a warm bed to sleep in. You know what I'm saying? I love players who want to play. And a lot of times that's what comes with an all-star season. So I'm so excited for this season. Now, in the first episode, you know, I'm so disappointed, or not so disappointed, but I'm so devastated that Kyle had to be ejected from the game. I feel as I have the strongest feeling that Kyle would have had one of the best chances of winning. We saw him in the first episode. He was hitting the ground running, creating an alliance with Q, with Colby, and two other of the females on their tribe. He hit the ground running, doing what I expect for all Survivor players who want to win to do. It's just so unfortunate that he injured his Achilles heel during the immunity challenge, trying to get up the wall. It's just so disappointed. I was so devastated. However, I still have a couple of people who are left that I want to see win. I'll go ahead and tell you guys the one person, like my main person that I'm rooting for is Q. I feel as though he really deserved to win his original season, his first season. Now, he did make some choices that, made my eyebrow go up a little bit. That one tribal council where he put himself on the chopping block, encouraging everyone to vote for him. I don't think he got any votes during that tribal council, and then he went on to get voted out with an idol in his pocket. So I hope that Q has brushed up on his game. Let's talk about Q's tribe really quickly. So Q is on a tribe with Colby, with Rizzo, with Aubrey, with like two other females. I cannot necessarily remember their names just yet. But I feel as though Q was in a great position because he had a majority alliance. The thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of Rizzo at all. I'm not a fan of his whatsoever. To be honest, I wanted him to possibly be one of the first out. And the fact that Q started to recognize that Rizzo is really lazy around the camp. He don't do shit. He don't do a damn thing. And when you're dealing with players who are from the older generation, and even though Q was on recently played like within the last 5 seasons, he's still of that older generation. And so he expects everyone to work hard. And it wasn't just Rizzo. He said to two of the other females on their tribe, again, I'm sorry, I don't know their names, but, they're all about hard work. Colby is a hard worker. So I know it's frustrating for Q, and I feel for him in that regard. Without going too far ahead, we did see for the preview for the next episode that they will be switching tribes. So I'm praying that Q is able to create a legitimate alliance with strong players. I would love for him to partner up with Cirie. I would love for him to partner up with possibly Ozzy, even though Ozzy is not necessarily the strategic in any way, shape, or form whatsoever when it comes to the game of Survivor, which is, I think, probably the biggest reason why he's never won. Some would say he does deserve it. Like, I would have liked to have seen Ozzy win at least one season that he's participated in, but it is what it is. So, Q's tribe was a pretty strong tribe. They won both immunity challenges. They did lose the reward challenge on the second episode, but they've been a good tribe for the most part. Anyways, let's move on to Cirie and Ozzy's tribe. So Cirie and Ozzy are on a tribe with Davies, I believe is his name, and some of them call him Rick. I don't know what he's going to go by, but He's the news reporter. I loved him during his season because he was constantly a target, constantly seen as a threat, played multiple idols. I love his personality. I love when he's in his confessionals and he talks like a news reporter. I love him on the show. Also, Christian is on that same tribe, as well as Joe, whom I love. Love, love, love Joe. Joe was on Kyle's season. Now, it did annoy me a little bit that he was so closely attached to the player who had autism. Yes, he took her under his wing and he kind of protected her like his daughter, which I thought was sweet. But I really do feel as though that was a part of his downfall, and why neither he nor the female that he was protecting were able to beat Kyle in the final three, which I was extremely happy about. But anyways, I love his personality. I love the fact that he's so loyal. However, Survivor is not the game for those who are determined to remain loyal to the end. It's the wrong game. And in this episode, Joe was starting to get on his tribe mates' nerves with the fact that he wanted to be involved in every single conversation that was happening on the camp. And a lot of times that can annoy people. I love watching Sari play her game. Now, we all know that Sari is not the most physical. She may not help you out in challenges too much, and she will admit that herself. And I appreciate that self-awareness. However, Sari is a strategic mastermind. She did win the first season of Traitors. She's played Survivor 5 times. She's been on Big Brother with her son. Have no idea how she didn't win Big Brother, but Sari is a master of strategy. And the way that she was able to get the eyes off of Ozzy for the vote at Tribal Council and switch it to Savannah, which Savannah does have an advantage. I think she has a block of vote, if I'm not mistaken, that she received from the journey that she took on the first episode. And, when she came back from that journey and told them, she was just able to keep her vote. She didn't get any advantages. I think Savannah underestimated the intelligence of her fellow players. When you're dealing with all stars, you can't fool nobody. You really can't fool nobody while you're there. So it is what it is. And me personally, with me being disappointed with the fact that Savannah won her season last year, although I do feel as though she did deserve that win. I mean, she was the best player last season. She was surrounded by people who I would assume probably aren't the biggest fans of Survivor, because I feel as though if you watch the show religiously like I do, you know how to play the game, and you don't play the game with your back to the chair, your arms folded, half asleep, not paying attention to what's going on around you. Like, Savannah had her guard up the entire time, and there were so many opportunities for those people to vote her and Rizzo out for that matter, but they allowed her to stay around. And I don't know how she was able to stay under the radar for so long when her gameplay was on the surface the entire time. But anyway, so Sari did an amazing job of shifting the target from Ozzy to Savannah. Now, my question is, why were they so hell bent on getting Ozzy out when Ozzy, as I stated before in this review, is not a strategic threat whatsoever? He's great at challenges. He's great at possibly catching fish, for camp life and things of that nature, which are obviously great things, great attributes for someone in the first section of the game. So I have no idea why they were wanting to vote Ozzy out, but I love the fact that Sari attached herself to Ozzy from the beginning, and I feel as though Sari was possibly using Ozzy as a shield, maybe, so that she can sort of kind of camouflage her strategic awareness and things of that nature. But it is what it is. But as I said a little earlier in the review, they'll be switching tribes next episode, so I hope that things work out for the best for all the people that I'm rooting for. Last but not least, let's get to Jonathan's tribe. Jonathan is in a tribe with Coach and some other players. I honestly can't remember whom else is in their tribe. Just off the top of my head, there are over 20 players that are still in play right now. But oh, the female that was aligned with Kyle during his season, she's on that tribe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe. I'm watching Survivor with my mom, as I always do, and this is my mom's introduction to Coach. Coach is an anomaly. He is one of one. There is no other Survivor player like him. I don't think there's anyone else like him on this earth. I think he's pretty entertaining. However, I don't believe that he's going to win this season. I'm not sure if they will allow him to get to the merge. I'm assuming that they won't. Not that Coach is a strategic threat necessarily, although I do believe that's the reason why he was able to get to the final in his previous season. Which he used manipulation in the worst way possible by using religion. But that's how he played the game, and he deserves credit for that because it was extremely effective. He got two of his closest alliance members to the final three with him, so he worked that out pretty well. However, with Coach trying to present himself as this alpha male, this man who's unstoppable, this man who is a quote dragon slayer, this man whom will not be denied, it's laughable. It's laughable, and a lot of people are kind of. Kind of babying him a little bit, but I love the fact that actually no, Christian is on that tribe. Yeah. Anyways, so I found it interesting that when Jonathan was out there getting fish, which I love Jonathan. Jonathan was one of my favorites during Marianne's season, the season that Marianne won. That also Drea was on. Drea is probably my favorite Survivor player of all time. She's so intelligent. She's so beautiful. She's so witty, and I loved her. And the fact that she had like 3 or 4 advantages at one time, and none of them worked to keep her in the game is so devastating to me. But anyway, so I'm just hoping that Coach is gone sooner than later. Even though he may be entertaining for some, I'm tired of seeing him on my TV. I hope Jonathan gets far. I hope that he's able to be more strategic this time around because during his original season, he was not necessarily strategic until he sort of got to the end. And by then, I think it was too late for him. And he ended up getting not voted out, but he ended up getting eliminated by a fire making challenge against Mike, who was his closest ally during that season. So I hope that Jonathan doesn't attach himself to Coach, but even if he does, more than likely they won't be on the same tribe after the next episode is over. So we'll see what happens. But my favorites right now, my number one favorite is Q. I'm also rooting for Cirie, and I'm also rooting for Jonathan. I don't think Jonathan will win. I think Q and Cirie have a great chance of winning. Who knows if they'll end up on the same tribe? Once again, I hope if they do connect to one another. Now, the bad thing about, people of color connecting is sometimes it's extremely obvious, but a lot of times alliances are obvious to other tribe mates on this show. So I guess it may not be that much of a bad thing. But what are your thoughts? Who are you rooting for? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, press the thumbs up button, leave a comment, press the notification bell, and share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets, you guys. Be sure to join me every Thursday night at 8 p.m. for my live Hot Topics and Social Commentary show. I go live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. with my sister, Prophetic Fire Reiki, as well as our friend and sister as well, Bianca Edwards. We always have a great time talking about the happenings and goings on in the world. So join us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, y'all.